There's an interesting article in Think Progress today about a new hepatitis C medication. Solvadi is the name of the new drug that is basically a cure in the treatment of liver disease. A new study found that it cured hepatitis C in more than 90% of participants who were previously suffering from an advanced form of the virus. And the lead researcher said, quote, "It is fantastic. I am so excited for the patients. There is finally hope for their future." I mean, think about that success rate. 90% is out of this fucking world. Now, there's just one problem. Solvadi, which is manufactured by Gilead Sciences Incorporated, is too expensive for most people to afford it. It costs $84,000 over the course of 12 weeks of treatment, which works out to about a staggering $1,000 per pill price. So it was really up there. And not only that, the 3 million Americans who are living with the virus are veterans and prisoners and uninsured people or people who are covered through Medicaid. And the government is really hesitant to pay out on it. In fact, some California lawmakers sent a letter to the company asking for an explanation as to why the drug is so expensive. Now, it's interesting because the article on Think Progress really made it seem as if, well, what we have here is a greedy pharmaceutical company that's price gouging in order to make profit off these sick people. Now, look, I have to say, they didn't present any evidence to suggest that that's actually the case. They're just asserting that that is likely the case. And it may be. Look, I don't know. In so many other cases, that is true. But usually it's more of the health insurance companies that are robbing the shit out of people and doing ridiculous, immoral tactics. But when it comes to the pharmaceutical companies, it's more or less like, okay, it's just really expensive to make the drug, which is why it's really expensive to sell the drug, you know? And by the way, there's so many other examples of this, that when something is new, it's always ridiculously expensive. Remember when cell phones first came into existence? I mean, for fuck's sake, they were like thousands of dollars for that big-ass block, like this suitcase you had to carry around with you. Or the Saved by the Bell phones. Remember those? This fucking big chunk of brick that you would talk on? I mean, they were really expensive. And as time went by, the more competition came in the market. It lowered the price. It upped the quality. And it might just be, I don't know for sure, but it might just be that it was really expensive to create this drug, which is why the price tag is so high. So I'm not sure if this is a story about corporate greed as much as it's a story about the right policy that we need in place to distribute this drug efficiently. See, I think the solution to this is better patent laws. Now, what a patent is when somebody comes up with an idea, they can get a patent on it that says, only I can sell this drug for X amount of time, whatever it happens to be. I don't know what the laws are right now, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. And then they get to essentially just go wild and make a shitload of money, you know? And then eventually when there are generic forms of the whatever it happens to be that comes on the market, people will buy that because it's less expensive, and then that's the way it works. When the patent expires, all that can happen. See, in this case, what I think is you can do it a couple different ways, but you should, number one, not have these pharmaceutical companies be private entities, okay? I mean, or you can make them private entities, but you have a hard cap on the profit margin. So you could have whatever it is, a 2% or 3% capped profit margin for the stuff that they make, so they can't price gouge. That's one approach to this. Another approach to this is to limit patents to 1 year. You say, okay, great, you had this patent, you can go house for a year, but after a year, then the generic forms of the drug can get on the marketplace, and then they can, you know, be less expensive, and then, you know, it'll save people money and they can get the treatment that they need. Or you could do this thing where you have whoever creates the next scientific breakthrough or cure for a different thing, you can do a government program where whatever company it is or individual it is that does that, automatically, you know, you get $5 million or $10 million if you could just prove that the thing that you did works, the thing that you created works. And then you could get rid of patents totally and just have that be the incentive where people think, okay, I might not make a lot of money because I can't patent the drug, but I do make the initial patent grant or whatever we want to call it. That's the $10 million reward for creating the, you know, the cure or whatever it happens to be. So I think the problem with this, it's not necessarily just a corporate greed problem. That might be a part of it. But I'm sure that the drug did cost a lot to make anyway. They might be making a lot on it, but I'm sure it was expensive to make anyway. So I think the solution to this is doing one of those things which can change our patent laws and change our incentive structure and get the government more involved, where these things aren't just in the wild, wild west of capitalism with pure patent laws where people can get screwed over when they desperately need treatment and they can't afford it.